what's going on, everybody? More drama stuff coming out from behind the scenes of Justice League. I'm sure you guys have probably seen the article published by The Wrap that was going around on Twitter yesterday and Facebook and stuff. People were talking about it. People have been angry about it. I, being one of those people myself, there were anonymous insiders slash Warner Brothers executives that revealed some information to The Wrap regarding stuff that was going on behind the scenes during the production of Justice League. Some of it we knew about, obviously, that was very public. Some other stuff not so public, well, till now, if this is accurate. So just a lot of stuff coming out about how there was push and pull between the studio and Zack Snyder for the tone of the movie, which of course became an issue after the backlash of Batman vs Superman for it being too dark, and, you know, people just being impatient with these characters and not wanting character development and just expecting to have a full-blown character all-in-one movie with no evolution. That's what I attribute that to. But we all know that they wanted Justice League to be lighter in tone, have more levity, more humor, more optimism, all that kind of stuff. And even though Zack and Deborah Snyder had said it was going to be, you know, I guess apparently the studio didn't share his vision for the movie. The article was talking about how Zack shot the movie, which we know, obviously. And when he had a rough cut to show them, they were not happy with it at all. And I guess, you know, after that is when the studio brought in Joss Whedon to add to tweak the script and dialogue and stuff. And, you know, of course we all know what happened with that while that was going on, when Zack Snyder had to step down and, you know, Joss took over for reshoots, etc. And the thing that's disappointing about this is that this whole time since Zack stepped down, what has the studio been saying? Everyone involved has been saying it's still Zack Snyder's vision. It's still his movie. We're gonna stick true to his vision. And then the movie comes out and it's like, this does not feel like a trilogy. You know, Zack Snyder trilogy was supposed to be Man of Steel, Batman vs Superman, and Justice League. Yes, he worked on the story for Wonder Woman, but he didn't direct it, so that wasn't part of the trilogy. That was a standalone, self-contained movie. But Justice League was supposed to be the third movie in his trilogy, and it didn't feel that way for a lot of people, because while there are elements of Zack Snyder in it, you can tell it's so obvious that they were trying to distance themselves from Batman vs Superman and Man of Steel, but especially Batman vs Superman. And, you know, the article was also talking about how after Batman vs Superman, executives were going to this guy named Greg Silverman, who was Warner Brothers president at the time, and he answered directly to Kevin Tsujihara, the current WB CEO, so he was like pretty much second in line, second in command. They were going to the Silverman guy, suggesting that Snyder be taken off of Justice League, and they decided to keep him on because they felt like, you know, even though studios get rid of directors all the time, even in the middle of a movie they will do it, even though directors get, you know, booted off a movie all the time, WB felt like it would be a sign of weakness, and a sign, like, it would give the message that there's trouble and chaos going on with this movie. And since there's always some kind of drama sparked with DC movies, you know, they didn't want to do that. And they don't want to give that message of weakness. So they kept him on, and, you know, of course, they gave a 2-hour mandate and had all these requirements, you know, it needs to be lighter, it needs to be this and that, and basically just trying to change people's perception of the DC universe. And so they let him do the movie, and then they just ended up wanting to change everything. Like, I just don't, that's so wrong. You know, that is so wrong. Like, why spend all this money And of course, getting rid of directors is expensive. But why spend all this money? Let him shoot this movie to just want to go and spend more money to change stuff, to do reshoots that were probably pointless, probably a waste of time and money for everybody involved, and, you know, make us think that we're getting a certain movie that we're not going to get. Yes, we can love and enjoy and appreciate the movie, but when you take so many things, so many scenes that people are looking forward to, when you take them out of trailers, like trailers that are released right before the movie comes out, not just old trailers we saw a year ago that we forgot about. Every trailer. You can go back and probably watch every trailer, every little clips and mini trailers they were releasing before the movie. Stuff is taken out of everything. And then, of course, all these leaked things were coming out about other deleted scenes that didn't make the movie, that we didn't even know were filmed until now. And it's like, they just totally botched Zack Snyder's vision for this movie, and it's very disappointing, and it's just wrong. It's just wrong. And then the worst thing about it is that when he stepped down because of his daughter's death, they just saw that as an opportunity to just do what they wanted with the movie. And that is not right at all. And the article was also talking about this AT&T, the merger that was supposed to, you know, supposed to be, it's like in a lawsuit right now, the merger with AT&T and Time Warner. And that affected the CEO's decision about Zack Snyder and Justice League and everything, because they were afraid that their bonuses would be pushed to the next year if they push back the date, the release date for Justice League. How selfish is that? Like, the executive that wanted to remain anonymous in the article, he was saying that they were afraid that pushing back the date for the release date for Justice League when Zack Snyder stepped down, they were afraid that that would also be a sign of weakness, and, you know, that they didn't have confidence in the movie and whatever. And he felt, whoever this person was, or she, that that was probably the biggest mistake that they made in with this movie, was not pushing the date back and allowing Zack Snyder to finish it. But, I mean, if they didn't even like what he was doing in the first place, I don't know. I don't know what would have been better. The thing is, they spent, you know, time and money on the reshoots and having to redo all the CGI. They didn't have enough time to make this CGI for the reshoots look good and acceptable. Especially Henry Cavill's mustache fiasco, since Paramount did not want to let Henry Cavill shave for those reshoots, shave his mustache, even though Warner Brothers offered to foot the bill for adding a CGI mustache to Henry Cavill's face in Mission Impossible 6, which is stupid to me because there's, I mean, elite level prosthetics that people use for movies all the time. They could have just put a fake mustache on him until his grew back. It's not going to take that long. It's not a full beard. They weren't asking to shave his head or do something drastic or permanent looking. I mean, it was just stupid. And instead, they went with this CGI that, granted, the second time for me was a lot less noticeable and a lot less bothersome, but you have your biggest character of the movie with a CGI face the majority of the time he's speaking. And that costs money, and they didn't have enough time to make it look better, to make it look good. And it's amazing to me that the studio would rather go with all of that CGI face for Henry Cavill, Superman, the biggest character of the movie that everyone's waiting to see. They would rather go with that than what Zack Snyder shot. It's ridiculous. And So many Flash scenes taken out. So many Cyborg scenes taken out. He probably had the most stuff cut out of the movie. Aquaman and Atlantis scenes, like, I just don't get it. Like, it's terrible. It's terrible. After reading that article, it's like even more frustrating because this was going on and we didn't know about it. We knew that they were obviously trying to change people's perception and the tone of the DC universe, but man, they just totally ruined what Zack Snyder was trying to do with this movie, it seems like. And I don't know why people think that there's not a Snyder cut that exists, because what do people think he was doing the whole time the whole time he was the director? He was shooting the movie. We had trailers long before reshoots, and so obviously there was a lot of footage and a lot of stuff that didn't make the final cut. I mean, of course, he had a rough cut to show them, obviously. So, yes, I mean, it's not finished because they still, you know, there were scenes that needed CGI and all that stuff to be completed, but there's obviously some rough version of his movie, and, you know, I would love to see it. I would love to see the stuff that he shot. I mean, it's just really disappointing that the studio did that, and it was a bad decision in my opinion. Yes, Justice League has crossed $500 million at the box office in like a 2-week time period, but 2.5 weeks, whatever, 3 weeks, but this just feels like the studio has no interest or concern in what the fans who loved those movies want. I mean, I don't know. They gotta figure out what they want to do with their movies, but the big problem is that they just meddle, and like I had tweeted a while back, now people are going to be worried. They're going to turn people off from their DC movies because people are going to be like, oh, they're just going to meddle with it, they're just going to ruin it, they're just going to chop it up. And, you know, a week after the movie comes out, everyone's going to be asking for an extended cut or a director's cut. Not how it should be. It's not how it should be. And so there are rumors that Kevin Tsujihara, the WB CEO, is resigning and that his contract ends in March, and I hope so. The problems are coming from the very top, and that needs a change. I feel like this guy has no business being a CEO of a movie studio. Sorry, but he doesn't. And, you know, it's wishful thinking, but I wish DC could have their own movie studio and have more creative freedom. You know, it's never gonna happen. WB would have to sell them, and I don't see that happening. But, you know, like, Disney owns Marvel, but they have their own studio. And, you know, that would be nice if they could do something like that with WB and DC. I don't see it happening, but just wishful thinking, you know. But, if you haven't read that article, give it a read. There were some things, and of course I didn't like, just the writer talking about Zack Snyder's style and stuff like that I don't agree with, but, you know, I read it because I wanted to know what was being expressed, you know, coming down from Warner Brothers, what they were saying about it. And, you know, anyway, I'm a Zack Snyder fan. I love Man of Steel, I love Batman vs Superman. I will always love and support those movies, and I just would really love to see what he had in store for us with Justice League before they changed so much. And I love the way Superman was portrayed in Man of Steel and stuff, and I didn't have a problem with the way he was portrayed in Justice League. It's just like, I feel like we're never gonna get what we had in Man of Steel again because they're so afraid that people are gonna not like him. I understand Justice League is like part of his evolution as a character, but since they had to rush with this 2-hour mandate, we didn't even get to see like a natural progression from when he comes back and when he, spoiler alert, when he decides to go and help the team fight Steppenwolf. It's just like all of a sudden he's okay, and that's not a natural progression, obviously. So some of like the changed or deleted leaked stuff that came out did include some stuff about Superman's progression and stuff like that in the movie. So, I don't know. I don't expect them to put in the money to finish Zack Snyder's cut. I don't expect that. I would like it, but I don't expect it, but I would hope at least that they would include some of the deleted scenes, like as a special feature or something on the home release. It's just, you know, we'll see, I guess. But I just wanted to discuss that, since people are talking about it and everything right now, and people are upset about it, and I totally get it. I totally understand. But we'll see what happens with it. We'll see how and when and if the studio responds to the petition and all these, you know, outrage from fans and stuff about what's going on. And so, yeah, that's what I wanted to talk about today. So let me know what you guys think about all that stuff going on, and check out the links in the description. And thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you next time.